Met with the Silicon Ranch people, the Farmers Federation, several of us did. And, so there's no government funding going into solar. And that was the one thing that I thought, if you want to stop, you stop it that way. You cut the government funding out.
But there isn't.
There's not.
Interesting. So
No,
it's a private company.
There was some green deals in it at one time, but that's gone.
Okay.
If everything that I'm hearing is true. So these solar panels are supposed to last 40 years. Over that 40-year period, they're supposed to generate $50 million in revenue. No, it's over $1 million a year in revenue. I don't know what the split is. I should have asked that because I asked a lot of questions about it. But so much goes to the county, so much goes to the state, like any other tax, I assume. All right, so they're doing a barrier around the property. They're buying, they might have bought it by now. They're buying 4,500 acres. They're developing 2,000. They're paid $5,000 an acre. That's $22.5 million to develop 2,000 acres. So they're giving up a lot of property on that 4,500. They're doing a wetland delineation. What that means to me is if I'm wrong, people call me. I mean, get in touch with me. I'm not hard to find because I want to know. I want to be educated about this. But if there's any runoff into the Delta, the fine's astronomical. I mean, they'll never that is not in their plan. Let me put it that way. Okay. I asked about a hailstorm. Anything I could think of. No, you could almost shoot this with a gun. They're not going to shatter. If there's a hurricane, these things are going to be blowing all over. I think they said they were 210 mile an hour. Wow. And they changed. So they changed with the sun. Yep. They also changed with the wind. So they can.
So they kind of scoop it correctly, so
they move them more right. Okay. We've got solar in Foley, and that was farmland. We got solar in Escambia County, and that was farmland.
So that's the bigger thing for you, I'm guessing, is that they're taking over farmland.
It is.
Not that solar's ugly or it's
it is
this
ugly.
Or that. It is.
But they won't see it. And
yeah.
I mean, so this wasn't Silicon Ranch and Escambia and Foley either. I'm not saying they're better than everybody else, but we asked the questions and they had really good answers and pretty quick. That, man, they're ugly. You won't see them. We're leaving a natural barrier around, a lot of jobs, 6 to 8 jobs.
I know, it's very low.
Yeah. All right, so jobs. You know where the jobs come in?
Installation.
Sheep.
Okay.
They're sheep farmers. So instead of mowing under all these solar panels, they have sheep.
That's clever.
Well, and so I was approached, and I'm door knocking in Stockton, anti-solar all across the yard out front. I know, I got to tell these people just what I told you. If I'm going to be honest, I'm not, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Knocked on the door, lady comes to the door, first question, what do you think about solar? You ain't going to like my answer. So I started telling her, just like I'm telling you. Yeah. And she said, well, I heard that they put off some kind of heat rays that, is harmful. I said, ma'am, they're raising sheep. I mean, I'm sorry, there's sheep under the solar. It's not, I don't see that,
There'd be a bunch of dead sheep.
It's not a invulnerable animal. It's a sheep,
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's that. And at the end of this, she did ask me, well, what do you think is going to happen? I said, you don't want to know what I think is going to happen. She said, no, I really do. I said, okay, I'll tell you what I really think. What I really think is people Stockton, people that care, environmentalists, there's no end. People that, don't want to see this. They're going to come together and they're going to raise money. Let me know. I'll pitch in. I'm about it. At the end, they're going to fight this in court and they're going to lose because the law's already written on it. Even if I'm elected, I can't go in there and start changing laws. That's not right. That's not what I want my elected official to do. And then there's property rights, which they don't like to hear, but it's true. Yeah. You can't just go in and tell somebody in an unincorporated area that they can't sell their property. It's just
like they can't raise cows or sheep.
The laws are written.
Yeah.
It could be a housing development.
Yeah.
Which would pull sewer, water, power,
yeah,
the works.
Well, technically, would that be worse?
In my mind, it would.
Yeah.
Because I live, in the central part, and I drive to Foley a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a traffic these people live there for a reason.
Yeah.
They don't want all that.
Yeah.
I think this is probably, I ain't gonna say it's good, so I won't go that far.
Yeah, but what
I don't want to do that.
But I guess you're giving
I
a
don't want to see it either.
contrast.